second speaker today is giving a speech project from the Entertaining Speech Manual. The objectives are to entertain the audience through the use of humor and/or drama drawn from your personal experience, organizing an entertaining speech for maximum audience impact. The time is 5 to 7 minutes. Title is I Confess. Please welcome Phil Brady.
Slide this forward a little bit. Sure. We have some guests coming. We'll let them-
We do.
Come on in. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I've enjoyed being in Toastmasters for many years, and I've enjoyed hearing other people speak and speaking myself. We've laughed, we've cried, and all that time, I have carried a secret that has caught up with me. And I'm here to confess to you today. I feel like the guy in one of those old Western movies that he's well thought of by the townspeople, and then one day two lawmen ride up with a warrant and they just take him away. So I'm here to confess, and I'm guilty of having overdue library books. And it started long ago in elementary school. I remember I had to pay like a penny a day for a couple of days for a couple of books. And then in high school, I couldn't graduate till I paid the library 75 cents. There was a time in 1990 when I took the kids to the library and they wouldn't let me check any books out because I had $7 for overdue books. And I didn't have $7 on me. And my son pulls out his library card and he says, "Here, Dad." He says, "Use mine." He, you see, had a clean record. But I ignored this problem for many, many years, and then it caught up with me in the mid-90s, and I got an overdue notice from the New Hanover County Library. $80 in fines. $80 in fines. And I looked at the notice, and I'm looking at it, and it had a number on there to call, and I thought, $80? Why am I just finding out that I owe and I owe $80? And so I called the number, and the woman was not amused at all. These are serious people at the library. And she started telling me that there's a contract between the borrower, the reader, and the library, and I had violated the sanctity of that contract and kept these books for so long. And so finally I said, "I'm sorry, I'll find the books and I'll get them back to you and I'll pay the fine." And then I said something that I wish I had never said. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever said something and you just can't grab the words and put them back in your mouth? And I said, "Ma'am, it says on the notice here that failure to return library books is a crime." And it lists the general statute, North Carolina, GS, and then there's a number. And she said, "That's right, it's a crime. It's against the law to keep library books." And I said, "I understand that, and I'm not disputing that, but I got to tell you, I don't feel like a criminal. I feel like a guy with an overdue library book." Well, that was the wrong thing to say to a librarian. And she went off on this tirade about how if people don't bring back the materials that they promised to bring back, we don't have anything to loan out. And I'm thinking in my head, fortunately I didn't say it, well, if you offend all the people who want to read your books, they're not going to come there and you're not going to have a job anyway. But she wouldn't let up. She just went on and on and on. And finally, my son's listening to all this. And he's listening to this conversation. Finally, she says, "Well, I'm just going to let you talk to our library administrator." I'll connect you. So while we're waiting, my son has listened to my side of the conversation. And he says, Dad, you're not a criminal. You don't have to take that. Tell them they can kiss your Dewey Decibel system. And I said, son, you don't want to be messing with the library. These are serious people. They're part of the government. And then I had this vision in my head of a bookmobile pulling up to the house, a bunch of guys in black suits and thin ties jumping out, busting through the doors and the windows, confiscating all the materials in the house that were reading materials, the magazines, the books, the cereal boxes, and that copy of the Jehovah's Witness Watchtower that fell behind the couch. There's nothing left to read except the back of the toothpaste tube. And I thought, it could get rough. About that time, the chief librarian got on the phone and we had a discussion, and he again said, you know, you owe this money. And so I told him I didn't feel like a criminal. I just felt like a guy that had an overdue library book. And then it was at that point that we got into a negotiation, and I was able to negotiate the $80 fine down to about $4. He was willing to let the whole thing go. My son was there, and I didn't want him thinking that, you know, you can't just get off scot-free because you get mad. So we agreed to a $4 fine. And so I want to encourage you today that if you've got a book and it's ready to be sent back to the library, just take it back to the library. That's what they want, and you should. You checked it out, you read it. If you need more time, they'll re-stamp it for you, and you can. But don't let the materials pile up, because these people love their books, and they should, and they have to do right by the public. So take the materials back when they're due. Now, if we happen to run into each other on the street, I hope you'll remember the story. And if we pass one another and we speak, I hope you'll, and your friends are with you and they say, well, who was that? I hope you'll say something nice about me. And if you can't think of anything nice to say, just say, there is a fellow with an overdue library book. Because I may be a lot of things, but believe me, I'm not a crook.
I always had a sneaking suspicion Bill Brady was part of the rending of the social fabric. A minute on the clock.